What's happening, people? Want to thank everyone for all the kind birthday messages. Sorry I can't get back to everyone, I've had that many, but my birthday's on postpone. We're on hold until the 24th of Jan, and we'll be having a birthday celebration and a world title celebration on the same night.
That Bush guy, I hate him.
What do you think is going to happen in that Gaethje Paddy fight?
Justin, sometimes he fights so good, sometimes so bad. I hope Justin Gaethje not gonna drink, party, gonna train, dedicate himself, be focused. It's his last chance in this life. Hopefully, he's gonna overstrike him on the feet, and then Paddy gonna try to wrestle him, and he's gonna defend his wrestling and win by decision. Justin, if you need the help, let me know. I'll fly to you and help you. I want him to win.
People keep calling Justin Gaethje inconsistent, like it's some harmless quirk, something easy to laugh off. But at this level, nothing like that is accidental. Nothing drifts in without a reason. That isn't randomness, it's history crawling back at the worst possible moment. It's a man who remembers how close his hands were to the top, how real it felt, and exactly how vicious the drop was when it vanished. When fans joke about whether he'll party or lock in, they're avoiding the real tension underneath it all. The real question isn't discipline, it's urgency. What if the version of Justin who shows up as the one who understands this might be the final door left in the hallway, the last chance before silence? And what if, instead of knocking carefully, he decides to kick it in? Consequences be damned, even if the entire building rattles, cracks, and threatens to collapse from the force of it.
Ilya or Paddy? I mean, the fight not happening. It's Justin or Paddy now. Paddy got to get past Justin. Justin's a tough fight, bro. I don't know. A lot of people sleeping on Justin on the Paddy fight, which just makes me ridiculous.
Tony Ferguson didn't bring up punches or takedowns for a very deliberate reason, because scars don't live on tape. They surface when the lights burn hotter, when the walk stretches longer than it should, and when the air feels heavier with every step forward. When Tony speaks about failed title runs, he isn't forecasting defeat or selling doubt. He's issuing a warning about a psychological detonation, the kind that either cracks open something frighteningly powerful or shuts everything off without mercy. That's the part that lingers, the part that keeps looping in your head, because it isn't technical, it's internal. And what makes it more unsettling is this: Justin Gaethje hasn't pushed back on any of it, hasn't laughed it off, hasn't denied a single word, leaving the silence to do all the talking.
You think Paddy's going to beat Justin Gaethje?
Easy.
Wow, really easy?
Yeah, easy.
That's a crazy thing to say because Justin Gaethje's a fucking animal.
Yeah, but he doesn't know how to grapple, and Paddy knows
But
that.
he's a Division I wrestler. He knows how to grapple. You don't think he knows how to grapple? He just chooses not to.
Did you ever saw him submitting someone?
I don't believe he's ever submitted someone, but I think that's because he likes to just crush people.
Everyone likes is to dominate people and to win as soon as possible. If you have the ability to submit someone as soon as you can, you would do it.
I think Justin Gaethje's mindset is to be the most violent person alive. That's one of the reasons why he lost some fight, because he took on this.
Paddy Pimblett walks into this like the universe is in his debt, like the ending has already been agreed upon, and that kind of belief is dangerous in ways people still underestimate. When you've never truly tasted suffocating pressure, you don't hesitate, you don't stall, you don't second guess, you simply react and improvise without fear. That's exactly why veterans despise fighting rising stars, because ignorance can feel invincible. But what if this rise wasn't organic? What if the acceleration was intentional, the path smooth just enough to keep momentum alive? What if the road ahead looked clean because obstacles were quietly removed? And the question no one wants to ask out loud keeps hanging there, echoing: who exactly didn't get this chance, and why were they left behind?
Paddy's not bad, dude. Paddy's not bad. He's very beatable, and Gaethje's very beatable as well. But when it goes into the passion and how upsetting Justin Gaethje has always been about not getting that real title shot, and they just keep dangling it right there again. Paddy's in for a new treat, right? Paddy's the one that's never fought for a belt. He's going in there. He's going to be trying to, get that stuff. He's going to feel a little bit more fresher. He's going to have that little bit of excitedness, in my opinion.
Daniel Cormier said it softly, almost in passing, but the impact landed heavy the moment he mentioned Arman Tsarukyan. He wasn't analyzing styles, footwork, or tendencies. He was pointing straight at the ghost in the room, the fighter who checked every single box and still got passed over. That's where the whole situation starts to feel uneasy, because it stops being just about rankings or merit. Suddenly, Gaethje isn't only fighting Paddy anymore. He's fighting a system that made a calculated choice, one that decided this matchup was cleaner, louder, and more profitable. And systems don't like being challenged, but they really don't like being embarrassed when the wrong man refuses to play his role.
Paddy, Pimblett, Justin Gaethje fighting for the interim title. Whoever wins that fight will move on to fight Ilya. And I don't think that there will be a title defense for the interim title. If I was to guess, if I was to bet, there will be no title defense of the interim title. I think that the next fight for whoever wins between Paddy and Justin, I think their next fight will be Ilya Topuria. So do not think they will defend the interim title. So good movement and clarity at 155 pounds. I feel for Arman Sarukian, but this fight's going to be incredible.
Before we go any further, here's a number that quietly exposes the room. Almost everyone watching right now isn't subscribed, which means they're about to miss what comes next, so lock it in before the story shifts. Now let's actually step into it, because this is where the paranoia starts breathing. Every time someone confidently declares that the interim belt won't be defended, it stops sounding like analysis and starts sounding like architecture. Less prediction, more blueprint. Like this fight exists only as a bridge to something larger waiting on the other side. And bridges, historically, don't survive the crossing. So pause for a second and ask yourself why people are already arguing about the next fight when this one hasn't even unfolded yet. Why the future feels pre-written. And who truly stands to gain the most if this ends quickly, violently, or wrapped in just enough controversy to erase what came before.
Paddy, Pimblett and Justin Gaethje. Who do you favor in that fight?
I gotta go with Gaethje. I feel like he's the one that loves to like get down and throw fist for fist. And he's also got the Division I wrestling to negate some of the biggest skill sets of Paddy. Paddy's like a very dominant grappler when it comes to submissions. I think Gaethje has the tools to keep it where he wants.
When Alexander Volkanovski said he can't go against Paddy anymore, that moment should unsettle you far more than it excites you. Champions don't react to hype. They sense momentum the way predators sense weakness, instinctively and without needing proof. But Volk hesitated before finishing that thought, just a split second too long, and that pause carried more weight than the words themselves. That hesitation wasn't doubt, it was uncertainty, like he felt something unaccounted for moving beneath the surface. As if even he knows there's a variable still hidden, something not yet visible to the rest of us. And when that missing piece finally surfaces, it won't adjust the picture. It could tear it open and force everyone to rethink what they thought was already decided.
8 years ago, what's like the first thing that comes to mind when you think of that fight with Justin?
That I'm glad it's over and I never want to do it again. I'm like, the fans don't ever ask for a rematch or anything like that, because that would have never. I'm like, I'm glad. He's unique, man, and he's one of my favorite guys to watch. So like, but if you want to beat Justin Gaethje, you have to. So he's a forward fighter and a pressure fighter that he will stand in the pocket, and he's gonna throw everything he got in that pocket. If you don't meet him, you'll get chewed up. So Paddy, the way to beat a guy who like does this, very violent, aggressive pressure fighter, you have to meet him. You have to throw when he throws. So you got to be brave, and you have to go when he goes in between his shots. If you do that, you got a fair shot. If you don't do that, if you're not brave and courageous and throw when he throws in between his shots, it's going to be a really long night. It's going to be a hard night for you.
Veterans like Chael Sonnen talk about chaos the way others talk about comfort, like it's a familiar place they know by heart, and Justin Gaethje truly did build his entire career living inside it. But even homes wear down over time, foundations weaken, cracks spread, and the walls that once felt unbreakable start to give. When someone younger walks in without fear, they don't admire the structure, they push on it, test it, lean until something shifts. And I can't shake this creeping sense that Justin isn't actually afraid of losing anymore. He's afraid of being used, of playing his role too well. Because in this game, spoilers don't get rewarded for honesty or disruption. They get quietly erased once they've served their purpose.
Not even, like, they're just basically saying Paddy's more popular, you're getting it over Arman.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, right? And that's, I mean, God, I hate like how I kind of get into this too much, but I mean, that's really like, that's the definition of, a monopoly where a single promoter owns the title and the rankings. And it's not a good thing for the sport, in my opinion. And I don't know. I have to question what it's going to do for the longevity of the sport. You know, I don't think in the short term it's really going to make a big difference, right? Like, you know, it's going to sell the next fight, right? It's going to sell the next pay-per-view. But trends tend to come and go, right? Fads tend to come and go. At some point, like, you know, to have staying power and lasting power, I think it requires, you know, a meritocracy-based system. It's going to require, you know, some, you know, if you want to bring in guys like Armin Sarukian or Movsar Evloev, I always mess up how I say his name. You know, you want to bring in these Olympic wrestling level guys. I mean, they don't want to have to go out there and put on some ridiculous show to become a champion. They don't want to have to go on Instagram and start a podcast and make you know, whatever kind of skits on social media and this silly kind of stuff. Like, they just want to be a world champion because they want to be the best athlete. And that's what makes me wonder how the staying power is going to be, right? When you're dealing with guys that are, you know, legitimate athletes that want to be legitimate athletes, and they're getting passed up by guys that are entertainers.
Eddie Alvarez.
He understands pressure better than almost anyone, and when he talks about training partners, he's not really warning about bodies, he's warning about illusions. Chaos can be manufactured in a gym, intensity can be rehearsed, but there's no way to fake the moment when your lungs are on fire and the person standing in front of you smiles like this is exactly where they belong. That's the secret people keep missing. Justin doesn't just fight you, he pulls you into places you never planned to visit, mental corners with no exits. Once you're dragged there, the strategy, the map, the preparation all stop matching. And the question that keeps hanging in the air is unsettlingly simple. What if Paddy isn't afraid of that place at all? And what if he's been waiting to step into it too?
You know, I'm not looking to grapple, but I have no issue, you know, with the grappling department, and my ability to keep people from taking me down is second to none. So he's going to have to, you know, compromise me with his punches and kicks and knees, and then, you know, if that happens, then he'll have a better chance. But this is such a crazy game, you know, you just never know. Maybe I'll.
When fighters say they never want to go through that again, it isn't weakness speaking, it's something heavier, a blend of respect and fear earned the hard way. Surviving Justin Gaethje rewires how you think, how you measure risk, how you remember pain, and once that switch flips it never fully resets. That's why this fight might not actually be about winning on paper at all. It might be about who makes it out of the story intact afterward, and who carries it with them. One man walks away crowned, validated, elevated. The other walks away alive but questioned, replayed, dissected. And the cruel truth is this: losses fade with time, but questions don't. They linger, they echo, and they follow you far longer than any official defeat ever could.
On it to get in the cage with him and fight him, but feel bad saying it because I've said it already. I think I'm going to retire him.
Is that where you think he is in his career? You think he
Yeah,
is?
I think he could be on the verge, on the precipice of retiring. He said himself he was going to retire if he didn't get a title shot. So when I beat him, he's not going to get another title shot, is he? So
when Charles Oliveira says Paddy shouldn't trade, it sounds obvious at first, almost boring in how clear it seems. But underneath that advice is something genuinely unsettling. When veterans across eras quietly agree on the same danger, it's never theoretical. It's because they felt it in their bones. And yet Paddy keeps smiling, keeps talking about standing and trading like it's a declaration, like it's a message aimed at someone specific rather than the crowd. That kind of urge doesn't grow from confidence alone. It comes from conviction, from believing you understand something about your opponent that everyone else has missed, a flaw, a hesitation, a moment that only you can see. That belief can be powerful, intoxicating even. But it's also the point where fights stop being strategic and start becoming personal, and when that line blurs, the consequences tend to arrive fast and without mercy.
And I've never had a war in all my years of fighting, so I'm looking forward to one.
Is that what you want?
Yeah, of course. Always want one.
So you never had a war, you want to start it by doing it with Justin Gaethje?
Well, yeah.
Where's your head at, man?
It's firmly screwed on my shoulders, lad, but people are laughing at me when I'm saying I'm going to stand with him, but I am. People think that I'm just going to shoot in the first 10 seconds. I'm not. I'm going to stand with him, and I'm going to put it on him, and people are going to be like, wow, we weren't lying. He's more of a boxer with leg kicks, and I'm an MMA striker. I don't do just boxing or Thai boxing or kickboxing.
or taekwondo or karate. I'm an MMA striker, and you'll see that when I fight.
There's something unsettling in how calm this all looks on the surface, like the tension has been wrapped and hidden instead of confronted. Big fights don't usually glide along this smoothly unless someone, somewhere, already feels comfortable with how the endings might look. When danger gets sold as destiny, it's rarely accidental. It's usually because the risk has already been measured, weighed, and approved from above. Justin has lived inside this role before, the necessary threat, the man who makes fights electric but conclusions inconvenient. And when a fighter realizes they're being framed as a test instead of a future, something changes. They don't sit back and play chess, they don't wait for permission, they flip the table. That's the moment when strategy dissolves, emotions spike, and fights stop being technical exercises and start becoming deeply, violently personal.